Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Bad Finds. Today we're going to review one of the more infamous games in the NES library, a game called Deadly Towers. Sean Baby describes it as the worst NES game of all time, and people have been demanding a video review of this game. So, is Deadly Towers the worst game in the NES library? I'd have to say no. Deadly Towers isn't as bad as people make it out to be. However, it does deserve the reputation that it has. And what I mean by that is that at its core, it's really not all that bad. It was just executed poorly. And I mean poorly. So poorly that it makes Fester's Quest look like Super Mario Bros. 3. So with that said, let's have a look at Deadly Towers. Deadly Towers is your basic adventure game. Peter North plays as Sir Myers, who goes around and ejaculates swords and rapes things to death. The plot of the game is that Sir Myers is a prince who's about to inherit the throne, and some demon named Rubus has built a castle with towers and is threatening the kingdom. Your job is to go through the castle and up these towers to retrieve bells and then burn them in the sacred flame. And once you've burned all the bells, you go and you fight Rubus. It's really not a bad concept. However, this game suffers from one fundamental flaw. You start the game too weak. Most people who play this game will die within 2 minutes. That's right, this game will consistently kill you in 2 minutes. Now to illustrate just how weak you start off in this game, imagine playing Zelda. You know how your sword shoots when you have full energy? In Zelda, you can only have one sword shot on the screen. Deadly Towers is the same way, but with one key difference. In Zelda, you can stab while the sword is shooting. In Deadly Towers, however, there is no stabbing, only shooting, meaning if you shoot and you miss, you're completely defenseless until the sword hits something or goes off the screen. The best way to kill is to move in close and just rape them. Now, to illustrate further how weak you start off, decrease the speed of Link's sword by 1/2. Next, take away Link's shield. And lastly, make the enemies 10 times stronger. Put twice as many enemies on each screen and now you're playing Deadly Towers. You can buy power-ups to make you stronger, but good luck finding a shop that will sell you power-ups. Shops are located in these underground dungeons that are infested with enemies that can kill you faster than you can say game over. These dungeons have no entrance. You just walk on top of what appears to be normal ground and all of a sudden you're teleported into the dungeon and you have to search for the exit. These dungeons are more complicated than level 9 in Zelda, and to make things worse, you get no map to keep track of where you've been. To illustrate my point, this is level 9 in Zelda. Now compare that to this typical dungeon in Deadly Towers. See how many rooms are in that dungeon? Try finding your way through that without a map. There are also these parallel zones and secret rooms where you can find items to help you. But like the dungeons, these too have no obvious entrance, and in order to find these areas, you have to walk around the entire game and cover all ground. The only problem is that you're so weak that you probably won't survive to find these areas in the first place, and when you die, you start all the way from the beginning, just like in Fester's Quest. One last minor gripe I have about this game is that the color scheme is dull and gives this game a boring, mind-numbing feel. I just don't like the way this game looks. The only real decent thing about this game is the ending. You get a bunch of words and then a sequence with Prince Meyer and the king. So there you have it, Deadly Towers. It's certainly not the worst game on the NES, but definitely one of the most flawed. It had a great concept, it was just poorly executed. You start the game off too weak to the point where it's just unplayable, and beating this game without any sort of help or strategy guide is almost impossible. Deadly Towers is one of the most horribly squandered games I've ever played, and most gamers aren't going to have the patience to put up with it. But if you do, I commend you for your iron will. That concludes this presentation. Peace out.